Across the world, plenty of companies claim they're groundbreaking and innovative in their field, but in the case of Raven, this approach goes to the very core of who they are as an organization. Raven like to challenge the status quo, ensuring the constant evolution of the business world. In this interview, we'll hear from Raven's CEO and founder, JJ de La Torre, about what he wanted to achieve in his career, and after a period of working abroad, what prompted his return to Chile to form the company. And then we'll get into the detail about some of Raven's biggest achievements with JJ and also with the company's chief design officer, Rob Hamblin, joining the conversation to talk about what attracted him to Raven and how he fits into its unique culture. My name's Andrew Wilson, and this is A Moment with Raven. You've done a lot of traveling, JJ. In fact, it took you a while to settle down and start Raven, didn't it? What was that journey like?
Well, it was 20 years of living abroad and living and working in different countries. And I think it was an amazing one because it allowed me to kind of learn and pick up and share from different countries, different cultures, different people. I think that, like when you relate to clients that are in multiple countries, when you're addressing problems that, are always evolving, you need to be able to adapt. And the fact that I have spent 20 years living abroad, adapting to different cultures, adding these different cultures in some sense to who I am today, allow me to have that flexibility and the flexibility to the team also to actually being able to be that advisor for those clients.
And it's a short bridge between adapt and disrupt, isn't it? And that's what you're trying to advocate with most of your clients. Do they come to you wanting to change, or do you have to sell them that idea?
Well, I would say like around 80% of our clients, we have to sell them the idea. We have to convince them that they have the opportunity to embrace change, to embrace disruption, to become the disruptor instead of being disrupted. But this 20% of clients that they have the vision, that they need a partner that can help them to actually take that vision into a reality, and this is who we are.
And what do you think it is about your background, your upbringing and your experiences that makes you the ideal partner for these companies?
Well, I think that the fact that we're able to challenge the status quo, the fact that we're able and willing to make those questions that are difficult and nobody wants to actually ask, the fact that we're willing to stand up for what we believe is what our clients most value of us.
Well, I want to ask, so let's take it to the studio.
Let's go.
Okay, Raven's growing all the time, and you've got a variety of expertise and different mindsets and so on, which is all to the better for your clients, but you're the CEO. Where did the idea come from? What is it you're trying to create here, or what is it you've already created?
Well, I think that my experience, one, it combines a very rarely set of skills. Like on the one side, I did startups, I did 3 startups, I exited 3 of them. I invested in 14 startups, exit 11. I worked for corporates and corporations in different countries, and then I work in consulting. But it was kind of like this mix of experiences, cultures, and dynamics that allow me to identify, a common trend, which is startups are extremely good on creating new value because they have a single focus and they have a much simple decision-making process than being corporations. On the other hand, corporations are very good to manage, value, to manage growth. But they have a much more complex decision process, alignment, and this is why you see, big companies take them so much time to innovate, to change, and to evolve, and it's part of this, comfortness that we're talking before. So we said, what about if we change and we actually mix the best of these 3 worlds? So the best of the startup, that agility, that solely focus, that way on actually and how to engage and get alignment and get things, think, build, and sell into the market with a consultancy approach that basically is able to understand and assess the situation of a client, of a market, to then build a solution with the corporate approach that basically manage growth and manage, a big business at scale.
So how does a company know when it needs to get in touch with Raven?
Oh, very good question. I think the more successful you are, the more you're going to need Raven. The more close that you become to your current value proposition, and more difficult for you is to question it. So I think that is a symptom without being a symptom. Because you will see your P&L, you will see your revenues, you're still growing, you're doing well, and that's the perfect time to start thinking what is the next wave of evolution, and maybe that next wave needs to be disruption, and needs to be a disruption of your own value proposition. That I think it's where the companies have the most opportunity. On the other side, we have the companies that have already been disrupted. There was a change in the market, there was a change in the regulation, or a digital disruptor or a disruption startup, come up to the market and come into the market with a new value proposition. So they're already on a defensive play. So what we try to say to our clients is like, take the offensive, become the disruptor, leverage your current asset, think on your current asset in a different manner, in a different fashion to actually create this disruption.
So what is it that you've created within the ethos of Raven that makes your team of people ideal for this kind of work?
I think the first one is like we're willing to ask those questions that maybe others don't want to ask. Maybe because they are too difficult or because they're more on an isolated fashion. The second one is like we have this integrated view of the think to sell, where the build is the middle step to actually achieve the revenue. And the third one is like we're really expert. So every single person in Raven has been, operating as a client, has been operating in a company, has been building something. We're not just consultants. We're people that, leverage a consulting methodology, a consulting way of engagement to actually deliver an expert advice.
And you put yourself forward as the partner in that process. What do you offer as a partner to these organizations?
Well, we offer, a three-step approach that actually goes alongside what you need to become a disruptor. First is the thinking area, where we conceive new value propositions. And what we're going to do with our clients is actually see if there's a new opportunity that can create new revenue, that can create a new revenue stream, or if there is an opportunity in their current business that can be twisted, can be evolved to actually take it to the next side. Then we're a build partner. So we take the idea into a reality. We create it, we build it, we take it to the market. And that, that single step that is think to build, it's already a quite difficult one. And if we see the market and all the players that are operating, it's a broken area. A lot of companies thinking only on what can be done, but not how it needs to be done. And when you're actually thinking to executing and to building is very different than when you're just thinking for the sake of creativity or the possibilities. To give you an analogy, it's like if you're an architect and you think the most amazing building, extremely beautiful with huge materials and really impressive when you see the designs, but then you give it to a builder and the guy said, look, it's impossible to be built, or it's too expensive, or it's going to take me years to do it. So this is a problem that we see in the market. A lot of companies spend a lot of money, a lot of effort on thinking something that will never going to be built. So that's the first phase. And then the second phase is when you take something that you're building, but to be taken to the market and actually to capture revenue. Same problem. A lot of companies spend a lot of resources on building something that is not needed. And when it reaches the market and get into the market, clients just don't consume it.
Rob, good to see you. Thanks very much for joining us.
No worries, thanks for having me.
Now, you are the Chief Design Officer at Raven,
Yeah.
which is obviously a key position in terms of how the operations work. Why not give us an idea of what your role is like?
Yeah, so I guess in a nutshell, I'm responsible for anything that is an output that represents an interface for those client or customer experiences. My role is also to mentor and grow the design team as well. and to also instill processes in which help us better connect to our customers and their customers in rapid innovation frameworks, basically.
Are there any projects you're particularly proud of?
Yeah, there were two actually really memorable ones for me. One was a traditional bank in Mexico, and they identified a competitive market with neobanks that were emerging. And they asked Raven to help them establish what a new banking digital app experience could be for their customers. And the second one for me was a global bank. Actually, it's funny how they're both kind of fintech related ones. But this global bank, they were really getting to grips with data, trying to really understand like the habits of their customers. And they'd identified that a lot of their younger customers were investing in other digital platforms. So they called in Raven to actually help them understand if there was a product market fit for a new investment platform or product that would entice these younger investors to kind of reinvest in their own products.
How do you spot talent to join your team?
Yeah, it's a really good question, and it's something I take a lot of pride in doing as well. And that is that a lot of my own attributes I try and look for in our young designers that are going to be joining. But it's about the willingness to just think about things differently, to challenge, I was just saying to JJ yesterday, it's about the ones that want to swim upstream. It's the ones that want to go against the flow. And that's not in a disrespectful way. It's about the ones that just want to do things a little bit differently. I love working with young people because they are going to be the ones that have no preconception of how something should be done, but they might just have fresh ideas on how something could be done.
JJ, it's a good time to ask. Raven's moving fast, you're doing well, you're a successful company now, and as you said, you're starting to win awards. How does that land with the company, and how do you personally feel about that?
Well, it feels great. It feels huge recognition for a company that started in Chile 3 years ago, that today we're operating globally, and we're working with only Fortune 500 companies and among the top brands around the world. And not only doing kind of like development or sales or strategy, we're actually creating disruptive value proposition. We're helping those companies to re-engage with their markets, to re-engage with their clients, to actually create new revenue streams or actually capture more value on their current revenue streams. So it's a huge task to actually to take. And in that sense, we have been extremely focused on delivering that value. We have not been much focused or putting a lot of effort on actually sharing what we're doing. It's not that we're secretive, but the effort has been in really build something that lasts, build something that is real, build something that is tangible.
What's next for Raven? What do you see the future holding for you?
I think it's keep expanding the operations. We have received requests from clients and prospect clients in the US, in Northern Europe, the Middle East. So we want to be able to serve them, and we want to continue that growth path, probably partnering with some firm or some partner that will help us to actually get there. But definitely is to continue growing the value proposition.
JJ, great talking to you. Thanks very much indeed.
Thanks to you.